Hello, welcome to this update for the Atlantic. Let's just see what's happening with the tropics because there's this small area of low pressure near Florida, in the Bahamas that we talked about a little bit last time. It's just a 10% chance, it won't become much, but it's bringing some heavy rain and some storms towards the Bahamas and Florida. So be aware. And there's this area in the Central Atlantic now right to a 50% chance the next 7 days. Last time we talked about this, it wasn't even on the map yet. So let's see a drop wave near the coast of Africa experiencing broad area disorganized showers and thunderstorms. The wave is forecast to interact with another disturbance over the eastern tropical Atlantic and then move westward after that. The environmental conditions are expected to become conductive for some development this season next few days. Tropical depression could form by the end of next week. So still watching this, but as of now, there's a pretty decent chance this might form in the Eastern Atlantic. So in the Eastern Pacific, just to see, there's Tropical Storm Octave. It won't do much. It might recurve back, so better watch it in the long range, but it might dissipate before reaching any land. There's this area west of Mexico, already to 90% chance of formation. So this might already form today. So it might bring some heavy rain near coastal Mexico. There's this area already to 50% chance off the coast of Central America and Mexico. So better watch those areas for heavy rain. This is Invest 99E there in the Eastern Pacific that is already organizing. And some models do take it to hurricane strength there in the Eastern Pacific. And there's the one in the Atlantic is not in Invest yet. But here there's like the GFS shows there's the rest of Hurricane Imelda that's post-tropical now. There's the tropical storm in the Eastern Pacific that the GFS strengthens it pretty fast. Then it goes away from land. And then there's this one in the Atlantic. It tries to form in the main development region already by next Wednesday. This goes, gets somewhat strong, and then curves out again. This has been the general trend this year, like they curve out and go, but still watching because if you check the area of formation, the National Hurricane Center, it kind of includes the northern islands, the northernmost islands, so better watch because this might get close. But one thing that might happen after this, so there's this area now that the European model already has around 60 to 70% chance of tropical depression next week. But after that, there's already 40 to 50% chance of a tropical depression in the Caribbean the week after, in mid-October. So we better watch the gyre in mid-October. So it shows the same thing in the Eastern Pacific and Caribbean. This is exactly the Central American gyre. And because of that, the GFS it tries to form something in the Caribbean, but by the 16th, and kind of goes near Florida and the Bahamas, and it tries to form another one later. I wouldn't trust this, not at all, because the GFS is kind of crazy, and this is like more than 10 days out, but just showing you the general trend. What we are certain, almost certain of, is this disturbance coming now that might try to become something in the Central Atlantic, but not even the like European operational has it forming. It tries to form there, as you can see, this strong shock wave by the middle of next week, but the European never turns it into a tropical storm, so it doesn't even have anything on that. And like the gyre, it forms something in the Eastern Pacific around the 9th again and goes out, so it doesn't even have anything in the Caribbean. So the probabilities of the European have something in the Caribbean, but it doesn't really form anything. The operational, the Canadian has this tropical storm forming pretty fast around next Wednesday in the Atlantic, just like the GFS, and curves out as well. So let's see if this is a series, so it doesn't go much further, but still watching. So this might form or might not, depending on what happens in the Central Atlantic, this disturbance now. But both the Canadian and the GFS try to develop it very fast and it goes out into the Atlantic. So let's see the European ensembles for a better idea. So it does have some decent support with this one, kind of curves up and out there, but some members pass over the northern Western Antilles. So this is what we gotta watch closer. But here it has some members later in the gyre near Cuba, the Bahamas, and the Caribbean, especially the Eastern Pacific. So the Eastern Pacific is sure to have something because of the gyre, but the Atlantic still to be determined, especially like because it's a little far out. But this area in the Central Atlantic might have a decent chance. So there's the Google AI model shows like this is about 240 hours out. It shows a decent probability for this one to form this next wave and kind of head out into the Atlantic, but still kind of too close for comfort there to the Caribbean. But but in the Central Caribbean, it barely shows a thing. Just like three members near Florida. So still there's some models showing some good evidence for the gyre and other models barely nothing like this one. This is the other Google AI model. It has like I can even count like 6, 7 members only the system in this Central Atlantic. So it's only a matter of time for us to see if it will form or not. But if this one here forms, the only actual threat, like large swells and everything, and depends if it approaches the Caribbean or not. But later into this month, probably something in the Eastern Pacific, that there's more support there, but still that there's not that great of support for the gyre yet, but many models do show it. So this like the GFS ensembles into like total chaos on the GFS. It does show some more support for the gyre, slightly like further south into the Caribbean later this month, and does have a lot of support for the one now in the Atlantic. So the GFS is definitely developing it, but the Europeans still kind of lagging behind. So we'll see what happens, but for now, just monitor this next one coming off of Africa and be careful across Mexico and Central America. Heavy rain, especially like 5 days, close to 200 millimeters, a few areas. So please be aware of some showers and storms. And the Eastern Pacific might have 1, 2, and even 3 storms this month. So, and all will be very close to the coast. So these storms might cause a lot of heavy rain on the west coast of Mexico. So please be careful. Nicaragua and through Honduras and El Salvador shows heavy rain as well. In the Yucatan, so please stay safe. Warn others there. There's the GFS shows like a lot, especially in Mexico and to Guatemala there, and the icon show a few areas, including right now there in the Bahamas and Florida, that weak low pressure system. So be careful. The European is less, but shows like especially the east coast of Florida, still some in the Bahamas. So stay safe. Still a few showers and storms in Cuba and Dominican Republic. Jamaica is still pretty common this time of year, but nothing too crazy. Just be careful of those showers and storms as usual. And in the Eastern Caribbean, until Monday, that doesn't show much. Shows further north some storms, but in the south not much. But between Monday and Friday, already shows like more storm, more shower activity, like between Monday and Wednesday, and until Friday, October 10th. So between Monday and Friday shows already more rainfall in the Caribbean possibly. So be aware those areas, and long range is still watching for some more storms. So stay safe. Those areas will keep monitoring these storms coming, especially like because those areas in the Caribbean and everything, the sea surface temperatures are still like very hot, especially like Central Caribbean, south of Cuba, over 30 to 31 degrees Celsius, the sea surface temperature. So still watching closely, and the ocean heat content, I don't have the map here, but it's very high as well. So still watching, but still kind of far out and uncertain about the gyre, but the tropical wave there in the Atlantic, it does have a decent chance. So we'll keep watching, so be aware. In the US, there is some minor severe weather expected today on October 4th, especially like this marginal risk from Colorado to Minnesota. There's like some wind and hail, especially wind, a few storms. So be aware, especially in the afternoon and evening. Day two is also tiny marginal in Oklahoma. So some wind and hail as well, especially Kansas, not Oklahoma. I always confuse these two. So into Kansas and Nebraska. So be aware and no tornado threat. And day three is just a few scattered storms in the south and like some odd areas. Shows here the fire risk is actually elevated if you can believe it. So shows like spots of the plains into the high plains, upper Midwest. And tomorrow still in the Midwest, some elevated fire threat. This probably because of some strong winds and everything. So be careful. Excessive rainfall, still some marginal in Florida and the Gulf, and spots there in Utah and Idaho. Day two, still a few marginals. Day three, especially Florida, spots of the plains. Day four shifts into the Appalachians, Midwest, and day five, especially in this New Mexico, day four as well. So quantitative precipitation, day 1 through 7 still shows a lot near like Louisiana and Florida, near the Gulf and the Atlantic, especially like today and tomorrow. The strongest should happen until Monday. So be aware. It shows there in the plains as well, those storms and spots of the Rockies. So be aware. And there's actually a lot of snow already, Wyoming and Montana in those areas, northern Utah. So day two as well, Wyoming, some snow. So be aware in those areas because of that system now. Especially here, if you check like what's really happening, shows a few storms in Canada, and like there's this system, the Rockies with some snow and some thunderstorms, spots of Canada as well, more snow in the Rockies there. And then this low pressure system does lift towards the northern plains in Canada by Sunday and Monday there into Canada, and more snow central northern Canada in those areas, and with a few storms remain there in the US. So beware, especially Tuesday showing line of storms there in the south and east, and still watching this possible cold front by the middle of next week in the northeast into Atlantic Canada. So still watching it, and possibly more snow in Quebec later this month. So be aware. It does show like wind gusts might be pretty gusty, a few spots central US and northern, especially because this low pressure system. So it does show the Rockies and plains this afternoon. Some stronger gusts, close like 48 50 mile per gust. This goes, and then it still shows light gust, especially North Dakota, South Dakota, by Sunday afternoon and into Minnesota. Some pretty strong winds heading to Canada Monday and Sunday, and later into northern Quebec by next week. So be aware and stay safe. And you see that the European model, it does form the tropical cyclone, the Eastern Pacific, and pretty close to mainland Mexico. So better watch it because it might try to get close to the Baja Peninsula later on by October 10th or something. But that's just one model run. It will change, of course. So still watching and be careful. The snow already coming to the Rockies shows like some already spots 5 inches in Wyoming to like southern Montana, northern Utah, a few areas there into Colorado. So be aware, especially today and tomorrow, and like 7 to 10 centimeters in Canada, a few spots, especially 7, 6 centimeters in the next 12 hours. Everything I'm showing you is just the next 12 hours. So imagine 5 days. So here it shows some in Alaska, southern Alaska, central Alaska in the next 12 hours. And then if I put it until the middle of next week, it shows a little bit more in the Rockies, close to like some 7 to 10 inches, a few spots in Wyoming, next 5 days, and a few spots in Oregon, 2 inches as well. And thus go all the way down to New Mexico, a little bit of snow the highest peaks. So be aware, shows there in Canada, even to 20 centimeters or more in spots in northern Canada. Especially most of Nunavut might get some snow, northern Manitoba, Saskatchewan, northern Quebec, in spots in central northern Alaska and southern Alaska in the mountains too. So be aware, already getting busy in terms of snow those areas. And there's the heavy rain from this low pressure system going through Ontario this weekend in those areas. So be careful, few storms and some heavy rain as well there. And temperature still quite warm in the south, above average, and already quite cold in the north there, especially Alaska, northern Canada. But during the day, it does warm up a lot in Texas and those areas, some haze, a few spots, even to the Midwest. So those gusty winds plus these above average temperatures will make that fire threat you just saw there. So, but during the night it does decrease in the Rockies a lot. Some 30s, 20s Fahrenheit, especially like you some low 20s in the Colorado Rockies, not other spots in the mountains in the west. So be aware when Canada's like even colder to minus 12 degrees Celsius, spots northern Canada into Alaska. So be careful those areas. And there's this front to this system now, and as it advances, will bring some colder temperatures further into the US, especially in the northern plains there, the Rockies. Meanwhile, northern Canada is still pretty cold, but shows that like in the south during the day still remains warm. It's even showing Texas close to 96 degrees, in Arizona 97. So that's next Tuesday, and then during the night throughout next week, especially Wednesday, still cold. Many spots like northern Quebec into Nunavut, more spots into northwestern Canada into Alaska. So be aware those areas and stay safe too. So we'll keep monitoring the tropics, especially for the storms in the near future, and stay safe.